Take two.
This is our group for the Allegory of the Cave.
Frank Russo.
Rich Mantellino.
Ralph Lucarelli.
And Mark Etienne.
The Allegory of the Cave begins with Socrates describing prisoners being held in a cave. The prisoners have their heads shackled, so all they see are shadows on the walls of demons and objects. They're seen to be speaking. However, in reality, there are people speaking these objects on their heads, creating those shadows. The speaking shadows may seem to be fake to us, but it's reality to the prisoners.
Like with the prisoners with the head shackles on, their entire reality, they believe that they cannot look around to the left, right, or anywhere at all. So all they see are the shadows. This is similar to what dictators might do to their people, enacting ridiculous laws that restrict what they're allowed to do and stop them from, say, using the internet, reading books, or anything of that matter.
Yeah, so like what you said about the dictatorship might make people believe that what they're being told to do is reality. So you might be doing something one way for your whole life, and that's not really reality, but you believe it's reality because you've been forced to do that, and that's just how you think life should be, because that's how life is.
Another cave in our life, similar to being forced to think a certain way, might be school. Sometimes we are led to believe that all we should do is seek to get the best grades we can, to get into the best colleges we can. But in reality, we have to make time for ourselves to ensure that we don't get too stressed or we don't lose ourselves.
Right, because that could hurt ourselves in the long run.
About the truth.
That's what the truth behind Plato's The Allegory of the Cave is.
Go behind the wall.
You have to look behind the wall and look at the other things in life and not just see reality the way other people want you to see reality. You have to see it for yourself.
That's a very good point. And you see that even with present day politics and present day government and everything. Like we're like they present us with a perfect plan to make, to make your life better. However, you can't just see it for what they tell you it is. You have to, like you said, look behind the wall, look behind the curtain, and take the blindfold off and realize that we don't live in a perfect world.
Going back to what Ralph said, when he said looking behind the mirror and looking behind the wall, is that you can't have your mind like focused on one thing. You have to like be your own person and look for other opportunities for in life to either like help someone else or make a contribution to the world.
It's also surprising to think about when the prisoner is finally released and he has to look around using his head. He feels great pain, literally because his head has been shackled, looking forward for so long, moving his neck. It must be so stiff. But metaphorically, it must be painful to see that this is what he could have been doing for his entire life, or however long he's been in that prison. It must hurt to think this is what I could have been doing with my life, but because of these prison guards or the dictator or the king or politicians, I haven't been able to do that. Also, when he looks at the torch and sees what has been casting those shadows, what has been casting those figures that have made him so terrified, demons talking, seeing that, it hurt his eyes because the light was too bright. That's the literal interpretation. But the metaphorical interpretation, he's seeing that the leaders he believed in, he's seeing that they have been lying to him for so long, and that must just absolutely shatter everything.
You're being dropped from a great height when that happens. I mean, you're seen to be living in such a one-way street. So once you're able to take the shackles off and you're able to look around, you might even believe that the actual reality, not the one that you saw, but the actual reality, you might not be inclined to believe that reality. You might only still believe in your reality because you've been living in that reality for so long.
Yeah, I think that's just another example of showing how like your perception of things isn't always the real reality, and that's why you have to take the shackles off and look behind the wall.
in life, most people can't handle the truth. Like they either run away from it, or they go back from or they go back to the darkness, because they can't handle the truth. Because the truth
Can't handle the truth.
Keep going. Yeah, some people just can't handle the truth, so they just decide to go back into the darkness. They decide to put on those shackles again and just stare at those figures, talking about insulting them. And sometimes people regret seeing the truth. Hit it.